And good evening, everyone, and welcome into the UFC Fight Cards podcast presented by Orange Fire Media. I am your host, Russ Renault, and thanks for joining us here on a Sunday night as we recap UFC 296 and finish off the 2023 season in the UFC. Appreciate everybody being in here. Sorry that we didn't get to the instant reaction last night. As you may have known from watching last week, I wasn't feeling the best last week. Kind of carried over into last night, and so I was kind of struggling to even stay awake through the last fight, and didn't get on the show right when we wanted to. But we come back here on our former slot here on Sunday night late, and just get into before the weekend ends. To recap what happened in UFC 296 last night from Las Vegas. So as you know, that all year long, this has been our first season. This is episode number 45. So it's been a great year. We've been through almost the entire calendar, just skipping a couple of weeks here and there when we didn't have a whole lot of UFC events going on. But we made it through the whole calendar. And that's just something to be proud of. Thanks for sticking in with us and going through cards this year. And we look forward to what we have in store for 2024. But before we get there, let's get into UFC 296. So the final event of the UFC calendar. And we'll talk about what happened last night. We'll talk about what's coming up in 2024. And that's what we're going to do on the show tonight. We're not going to get into any cards. I am going to show you just the autographs that we have left. This isn't a break show. It never has been. It's just been about getting the best cards in your hands. It's the ones that you want. We'll tell you what we have left. Everything that we have on the show is available to you, so you don't have to buy into a break. You don't have to buy a fighter. That you can just look at, see what we have, and you can pick out what you want. And you can go on eBay, and we'll give you all that information later on in the show and tell you all about how you can get your hands on the cards we have. So let's talk about UFC 296. So this was a great way to end the year. We had the welterweight title on the line with Leon Edwards defending against Colby Covington, and Leon just put on a show. It wasn't the most exciting fight, but Leon took care of business, dominated from pretty much start to finish. Colby kind of came on late there in the fifth round, but really didn't do much the first four, so that's what you saw on the scorecards, 49-46. Leon winning pretty much the first four rounds, dropping the last round, just playing it safe and taking care of business. So he defends that title for the second time, and that is no small feat, especially in the welterweight division. It's only going to get harder for him from now on because there's some killers coming up that are going to be after that title shot. So for Leon, what this means is you probably got a date with Belal Muhammad coming up next. Belal has been waiting in the wings, has been chomping at the bit for this title shot, had to wait in line behind Kamaru Usman with a rematch against Leon. Felt he deserved a title shot against Kamaru Usman when he had the title. Had to wait in line, got put back of the line, and then Colby comes in after more than a year off, and it cuts the line in front of Belal Muhammad. And so I think that's finally going to happen. We've seen this before. We had the eye poke. Belal Muhammad couldn't continue last time he and Leon Edwards faced off. So we hope to see the real main event this time. And so I'm looking forward to this. Leon Edwards, Belal Muhammad sometime in 2024. If it's not Belal Muhammad, then we'll get down to what we saw on the main card here in just a second. So if it's not Belal Muhammad, maybe Shavkat Rakhmonov. And like I said, we'll talk about that in just a second. But first, I think that's kind of what we wrap up with on the main event. Colby talked a big game, didn't back it up at all last night. Disappointing to see from him coming back off that layoff. So kind of running out of time there for Colby Covington. Had 3 shots at the title, and it came up empty in all of them. I don't know that he has another one in him at this point, so we'll see what happens with Colby going forward. And kind of what we saw in the main event, we saw in the co-main with the flyweight championship on the line with Alessandro Pantoja taking on the 4th-ranked Brandon Royval. and Pantoja also taking care of business in a unanimous decision. What was interesting to me was you had all this buildup, great early prelims, great prelims finishes, and then as the night wore on, you got to these decisions, and so it's kind of anticlimactic in one sense for maybe the casual fan, but a great night of fights nonetheless to finish off the year for the UFC. So Alessandro Pantoja taking the unanimous decision over Brandon Royval, kind of putting that to bed with the second win over Royval. As we look at the notes over here, we'll get into some of the fights coming up in the flyweight division that may have some title implications, who the next up for Pantoja will be. And so we'll talk about that as we go into the rest of the schedule later on the show. So as I alluded to, number 6, Shavkat Rakhmonov against number 7, Stephen Thompson in the welterweight division. And Rakhmonov, he's just phenomenal. Submission in the second round, rear naked choke there towards the end of the second, right before the bell. And so Rakhmonov now 18-0 in his professional career, all 18 by finishes. It's just unprecedented what this guy is doing. He was the hottest rookie last year for a reason, and so the rookie cards that you're collecting from 2022, Shavkat Rakhmonov's the big name out there, and so keeping that up, proving that again and again in a title shot is very soon in the future for Rakhmonov. So it'll be Bilal Muhammad, and then the winner of Bilal Muhammad and Leon Edwards is going to get Shavkat Rakhmonov. That is it. That is what is next. Don't know if Rakhmonov have to go through somebody like Colby Covington or Kamaru Usman before he gets there, but we'll see. I think he's right there, and if Bilal Muhammad wasn't sitting there, then we'd see Leon and Rakhmonov very soon. So then we get to the one that was, kind of back and forth coming into this. Paddy Pimblett against Tony Ferguson in the lightweight division. Could Tony Ferguson stop that 6-fight losing streak? Could Paddy Pimblett pick up a signature win? And he did. Paddy Pimblett did what people had been expecting him to do and really show himself. And he took this one very seriously. Get the unanimous decision over Tony Ferguson. I think that should probably close the book on Tony. And I know that Dana White said, he says that he hopes that Tony retires after this. And I think that the UFC has some say in that. And you can cut somebody. It's a lot like the NFL. You can cut somebody. But I think this is it for Tony Ferguson. With that loss to Paddy Pimblett, there's not a lot left for Tony to prove at this point. That you just got to let it go. And 7 fights in a row, that's got to be it. That says a lot. Losing to an unranked fighter at this point. Paddy, he's going to be stepping up in competition his next time out, but looked good this time, and so we'll see what he has left and taking on somebody maybe in the rankings next time out. So the one thing that we do need to get to, what was supposed to be the first fight on the main card, Vicente Luque and Ian Machado Gary. A lot of stuff went on this week, a lot of talk, a lot of fighters trashing each other on every which way, from Sean Strickland to Colby Covington and Leon Edwards and Dead Fathers and all that stuff. All part of the fight game and all the build-up of a fight card. But Ian Gary, going down with the illness, flu that turned into pneumonia, had to pull out of the fight. He does have one scheduled later on that we see coming up, but that one against Vicente Luque was off the table. So we had a replacement for the first fight of the main card, and what can you say about Josh Emmett? Bryce Mitchell coming in, number 6 against number 10 in the featherweight division. Bryce Mitchell stepping in on late notice. Giga Chikadze going out with an injury. Bryce Mitchell steps in, and he stepped out very quickly. Josh Emmett delivering with a first-round knockout. just putting Bryce Mitchell out cold in the first 2 minutes of the fight. And just nasty knockout. Maybe the knockout of the year. And then when we come back for our first episode in 2024, we'll talk about some of these end of the year awards. But man, just a sick knockout. Sad to see Bryce Mitchell, going into like convulsions there on the canvas. But great performance by Josh Emmett, putting himself like right back in there with something like that in that conversation in the featherweight division. So one of the things I was wrong about as we got to the last fight of the prelims, what became the main attraction of the prelims was a light heavyweight matchup between Alonzo Menifield and Dustin Jacoby. And this was the fight of the night. I could watch this fight, a fight like this. I could watch Alonzo Menifield and Dustin Jacoby or someone like them in other divisions go at this all night. This is the kind of fight you want to see. And I said that this was not going to go the distance. It did. And Alonzo Menifield getting a unanimous decision over Dustin Jacoby, barely. Menifield started off strong. Jacoby came back and, kind of took control there in the second round, had control in the third round, but Menifield caught him in the third, got him off balance, and almost knocked him out. But that really swung the tide of the fight, and Menifield pulling that one out with a unanimous decision, not based on volume, but just based on the damage he did to Dustin Jacoby. And so, like I said, that was the best fight of the whole night. A lot of fun to watch, and one that I was wrong about because I did not think it would go the distance. So then we saw a women's bantamweight matchup, another great fight between number 5 Irene Aldana and number 6 Carol Hossa. And Irene Aldana had to come back. Carol Hossa won that first round, I believe, and then Aldana came back in the second round and the third round to come back and take that fight. And so really making an impressive performance there to make a statement, coming back in that women's bantamweight division with that title kind of up for grabs right now. We saw in the men's bantamweight division, former champion Cody Garbrandt. And man, just like Josh Emmett, Cody Garbrandt delivered with a first-round knockout, a walk-off against Brian Kelleher. And, Cody Garbrandt still got it. When he's healthy, he is great. And, people say he put together a perfect fight against Dominic Cruz, but all that aside, Cody Garbrandt has hands. And if he can get back to a place where he's healthy and can go on a little bit of a run here, maybe make a run, one last little run here from No Love. So I'd love to see it. Big Cody Garbrandt fan. So hopefully he has something left. We saw it last night that he's got some power in those hands. Then we go on to the women's flyweight division. Ariane Lipski with a armbar submission in the second round over 14th ranked Casey O'Neill. Big win there for Ariane Lipski. Then we saw another submission to Tagir Ulanbekov, submitting Cody Durden in the men's flyweight division. Andre Fili getting a submission rear naked choke over Lucas Almeida. And then the first fight of the night, Shamil Gaziev with a second round knockout of Martin Buday in the heavyweight division. So a great card to end 2023 and a lot of stuff to look forward to from this card going into 2024. We'll talk about that right now. So when we come back, we will have a show on January 13th for UFC Fight Night from the Apex in Las Vegas. We've got the main event, Magomed Ankalaev, number 3 against number 6, Johnny Walker in the light heavyweight division. Rematch from a no contest earlier this year, last month. So looking forward to that one. Getting a finality on that one. Ankalaev seems to be putting himself in these kind of positions. It's not the best for him, and that's why he's been passed over so many times when these title shots come up in the light heavyweight division. We've also got a flyweight matchup between number 5 Mateus Nicolau and number 6 Manel Kopp. And whoever wins this matchup could be the next one to face Alessandro Pantoja. So we've got to look out for that. Brandon Moreno has a fight coming up. That one could play into whoever gets the next shot at the title. Jim Miller, Gabriel Benitez, lightweight matchup. That was on the card. I think that may be in question now with Jim Miller wanting to fight at UFC 300. So we'll see what happens there. But we have some other great ones on this card. Women's bantamweight matchup. Number 4, Ketlin Vieira against number 10, Macy Chiasson. And bantamweight matchup, number 13, Ricky Simone against Mario Bautista. So a great main card there for that first event back in 2024, that fight night at the Apex. Also, you've got another top 15 matchup in the women's bantamweight division with number 8, Yana Santos, number 11, Norma Dumont. Then we go to UFC 297, first pay-per-view of 2024, January 20th in Toronto. And we saw some extracurriculars last night at T-Mobile Arena with Sean Strickland taking on the number 1 contender, Dracus du Plessis. They kind of got into it last night in the crowd. And who knows what will come out of that. But that is the middleweight title on the line right off the bat here in the first pay-per-view of 2024 with Strickland and du Plessis. Then we've got a women's bantamweight, the vacant title. Number 2, Raquel Pennington against number 3, Mayra Bueno Silva. Obviously, number 1, Juliana Pena, the former champion, out with an injury right now, and she will get the winner of this matchup, we suspect. Then we go down in welterweight matchup. Number 13, Neil Magny against Mike Malott. That'll be a fantastic matchup, and I expect to see Mike Malott do some really putting himself in a ranked position, facing a ranked fighter, getting himself into the rankings. And we'll get into more picking fights and breaking down kind of how betting on these fights. And, it'll be for fun. That we'll say that. Like, we're not going to tell you that these people are going to win. We're going to say this is who we think is going to win. And we'll go from there as we get into the new year. But we'll start making some predictions. You can take those, do with those what you will in your own betting circle. But a great light heavyweight matchup coming up at UFC 297. Number 4, Jan Blachowicz. Number 5, Alexander Rakic. And then we've got a featherweight matchup. Number 4, Arnold Allen against number 9, Movsar Evloev. Then we've got a light heavyweight matchup, number 13, Dominic Reyes and Carlos Ulberg, one of the rookies from 2023 products. Then we look down the card. Don't see any other rookies on the card, but we do have our fan favorite, one of the friends of the show. We've got Malcolm Gordon taking on Jimmy the Brick Flick. Thanks, Jimmy, for signing that card for us earlier this year. And so we are Team Jimmy Flick here on the UFC Fight Cards podcast. Then we go to UFC Fight Night, February 3rd at the Apex in Las Vegas. Middleweight matchup, number 7, Roman Dolidze against number 12, Nasruddin Imavov. Imavov's been scratched from a couple of events here lately, finally getting back into action. They've got Molly McCann making a return against Diana Belbita. Then we got Themba Gorimbo, who's a great story. We'll talk about that later on in the year, but had just over $7 left in his bank account last time he went out and got a win. And it got that fight night bonus, got some help from The Rock. So great story there. Themba Gorimbo coming back into action in the welterweight division against Kiefer Crosby. So we've got Fight Night February 10th, also from the Apex. Middleweight main event, number 10, Jack Hermanson against one of the 2023 rookies, Joe Pyfer. Luma Lukbunmi, a great women's strawweight matchup against Bruno Brazil. Lukbunmi seems to be one of those that's up-and-comers, maybe a contender one of these days in the women's strawweight division. And then we got UFC 298, February 17th in Anaheim. And so that's going to be the featherweight title on the line with Alexander Volkanovski against number 5, Ilya Topuria. And we'll get to predictions once that gets closer. We'll see how things shake out from now until then. We'll talk about some of the things that are in play for the featherweight division going forward. Now that Volk is kind of stuck defending that title now after that unfortunate outing against Islam Makhachev last time out, trying to take that title in the lightweight division, and it looks like it's going to be a long time before he gets another shot at that. But the co-main event, phenomenal co-main. This could be a main event anywhere on a fight night. But number 2, Merab Dvalishvili against number 3, Henry Cejudo in the bantamweight division. You got to see Merab, if he gets a win here, then he gets the winner of Sean O'Malley and Chito Vera. So that's a huge matchup in the bantamweight division. A great heavyweight matchup. Number 9, Tai Tuivasa against number 10, Marcin Tybura. Women's strawweight division. Number 3, Tatiana Suarez against number 4, Amanda Lemos. And I have no idea which way I'm leaning on that one right now. I'm leaning Tuivasa against Tybura, but I have no idea against Suarez and Lemos. That's a great fight. We've got a middleweight matchup, Anthony Hernandez against Iskram Askelarov. And then heavyweight division, Marcos Rogério de Lima, number 15, against Justin Tafa. And then the only other ranked fighter on the card, women's flyweight division, number 14, Andrea Lee against Miranda Maverick. Miranda Maverick has done a break with one of the groups we're part of, UFC Sports Cards on Facebook. So kind of leaning Miranda Maverick just for taking care of our friends at UFC Sports Cards. A couple of events announced this week, so this is what we'll get into, kind of new stuff that we didn't get to talk about last time. UFC Fight Night, February 24th in Mexico City. Don't know a main event yet. Also, we don't know a main event on March 2nd, but we know this fight night is going to be from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. No main event yet, so we'll keep an eye out for that. We do know UFC 299, though. We have a lot on UFC 299. This is going to be sick. What a card. March 9th in Miami. Bantamweight Championship on the line. Sugar Sean O'Malley against number 6, Chito Vera. And Chito has the only win over Sean O'Malley in the UFC. So O'Malley trying to avenge that. Then we got, just announced this week, number 4, Gilbert Burns against number 9, Jack Della Maddalena in the welterweight division. We'll show you some autographed Jack Della Maddalena cards we have here. We'll show you the autograph cards we have left. That's what we're going to do tonight on the card portion of the show. The heavyweight division, number 5, Curtis Blades against number 7, Jailton Almeida. And Ian Machado Gary, he was supposed to be on this last card last night, but he will now face Jeff Neal, number 7 against number 8, welterweight division. Bantamweight division, this just announced, number 5, Piotr Yan against number 6, Song Yadong. Women's flyweight division, number 4, Caitlin Chukagian against number 7, Macy Barber. Just awesome fights all up and down. Lightweight division, number 6, Mateusz Gamrot against number 11, Rafael dos Anjos. Bantamweight division, number 11, Pedro Munoz against Kyler Phillips, one of the 2023 rookies. Women's flyweight division, number 6, Lauren Murphy, Houston area product. And she will be taking on number 13, Karine Silva. And just announced last night, new signed fighter Michael Page to the UFC. Will be facing number 12, Kevin Holland in the welterweight division. And then this finishes off with CJ Vergara and Asu Alambayev in the flyweight division. So what a card for UFC 299. Really looking forward to that one. As all the pay-per-views, I mean, you should be looking forward to pay-per-views. And that's just up and down the card, just nonstop action right there. So we do have dates, but no main events yet for UFC Fight Night, March 30th in Atlantic City. And we've got a date and a place for UFC 300, April 13th in Las Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. We'll see. I don't know. I haven't looked at Ramadan calendar. I don't know where that falls. But you might see Islam Makhachev taking on Charles Oliveira. I I don't know where that falls. So we'll have to see. April 13th, I would think that would be the place for it. That falls right in line with that. So we'll see if that is indeed the main event for UFC 300. So obviously it's going to be a huge event. So it could be multiple titles on the line, multiple things going on that weekend. So it is going to be a short show tonight as we finish off the year, but we do want to finish it off by showing off some of the autograph cards that we've had this year. I'll show you what we have left. So let's go through these real quick. Jack Della Maddalena, we still got this select purple. This is numbered to 49. We also have Jack Della Maddalena, Donruss rated rookie auto. And then when you buy stuff from us, when you buy the autograph cards, we'll throw in some stuff. So we'll throw in a purple press proof, a regular rated rookie, and a Prism rookie as well. Show you, we got Marvin Vettori. We have a Donruss Signature Series, and we also have a Prism auto of Marvin Vettori. We've got a lot of Marvin Vettori cards we'll throw in there for free. And then Damon Jackson. This is our lowest numbered auto that we have left. Damon Jackson with the blue hollow laser, rated rookie auto, numbered 25. Then we get to some of our Prism cards. And we've got this BJ Penn Legendary Signature. That will also get you a red hollow laser, a hall monitor silver, a green retail. We've got a lot of BJ Penn cards that we throw in there as well, going back to 2015 Chronicles. Another rookie auto with Randy Brown. Silver we'll throw in there. This is our lowest numbered card we have left. Macy Chason with the Octagon Prism. And this is a bookend. This is numbered 8 of 8, as you can see right there. Throw a ruby red prism in there with it. Redemption that we're waiting on. We've heard that these are going to be done, that Israel Adesanya is signing throwback signatures, so we expect to have this one, and we will throw in, we have the orange and the purple to go along with that when we get that auto in. So those are all the autographs that we have left. But I'll tell you about a little bit of the other stuff that we have. We have 7 sets of Donruss complete sets 1 through 200 left. We do have one that is 1 through 325. We have, well, it's not 325. We've got 1 through 225, and there's 100 insert cards. We have one whole set of Donruss, 1 through 200, all the Authority of the Octagon, all the rated rookies. So that gets you 1 through 225. Then the 100 inserts, we've got a whole set of those. So if you need an entire set of Donruss, we've got one of those. We've got a whole set of Prism 1 through 200 that includes all the rookies: Hasbulla, Bo Nickel, Pereira, Tabitha Ricci, Madalena, Aaron Blanchfield. We've got all those. We've got 2 full sets of Prism that are for sale. Then all of our stuff is listed on eBay. So you go to eBay and go to Orange Fire Lots of Lots, and you can find all of the cards that we have listed right now. We've got about 40 listings. We've got a few that we're holding out on that we're going to be throwing up there pretty soon. But a lot of the stuff that we've got on there, some big name stuff, like Tom Aspinall, Michael Chandler. We've got some big lots with big autos in there of those two. We've got a couple of slabs of those two. So those are our biggest ones. But you can always make an offer. If that number looks too big to you, then shoot me a number and we'll try to work something out. But we're just here to try to put cards in the hands of the collectors and make you the best deal possible. That's always been our goal here, is to get you the cards that you want, and we hope that delivers. So go to Orange Fire Lots of Lots on eBay. You can reach out to me directly. You can find me, Russ, at orange-fire.com. That's my direct email address. You can find me on Facebook, on X, and Instagram, Orange Fire Media. Pretty easy to find. So check out all those channels, and we thank you for being here. So if you subscribe to the show, you will never miss an episode. I put up the show early, and I hope that people see that and that the show is going to be coming on. I try to do it right after the fights. Like I said, last night I was just fading a little bit due to being sick this week. So I was fading kind of during the Leon Colby fight, and so I just couldn't pull it off last night. But came in tonight and knocked it out. But we plan to do instant reactions and do that every Saturday night and try to get those being consistent in that slot when I feel up to it. And usually I am, but I just couldn't pull it off last night. And so I hope you'll just bear with me and subscribe to the show. And just to let you know that we still want to give away those 7 fighter lots that we're holding on to. That when we reach a certain number of subscribers, that we will be giving away lots of John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, Justin Gagey, Robert Whitaker, Glover Teixeira, Holly Holm, Misha Tate. We've got 10 to 20 cards of each of those fighters. Every one of those includes a numbered card. Misha Tate's includes 2 numbered cards, and we want to give those away. And so the only way we're going to do that is if we get our subscribers up and we have enough people to enter into those drawings and give those cards away to you. So this has been a great year, and I appreciate everybody being in here and watching the show. We're working on some things over the next month that hopefully get some sponsors in here, working on some things on the card side of doing things a little bit differently, looking at more of kind of the betting side of UFC cards, and kind of getting some people on here who can talk about what they do and their philosophy and how they put money on fights. And disclaimer that we're not your betting source, but we're just going to tell you how we feel about it and which way we're leaning on these fights. So that's kind of the things we're working on going into 2024, is getting some more guests on here and having some different perspectives on UFC and just, instead of always going through cards, that we'll be going through kind of, how to bet on these fights and what to look for going forward. So when we come back, we're going to take 4 weeks off. So we'll be back on January 13th when we see Magomed Ankalaev and Johnny Walker from the Apex. That will be our next show. We'll be after those fights on January 13th. Hope to be revamped, and we look forward to your suggestions. If you want to come on this show and talk about anything, you are welcome to. This is your show. This is not just my show. This has always been your show. And you're welcome to come on and talk about it. We've got a channel we can get you on and bring anybody on here who has something to add to our little community here, and appreciate everybody who's been in this year and dropped by just for a little bit. So just tell everybody that who's a UFC fan to just come by and subscribe, and that we can grow a community together and talk about fights, talk about cards, talk about whatever you want to talk about right here on the UFC Fight Cards Podcast. So I'm Russ Renault, and thank you so much for all you've done in 2023 for me and being part of the show, and just sticking with me and working through this and just making this the best place that we can make it in a community for the UFC fans going forward. And we hope for a great 2024, and we will do that again on January 13th, and we will see you then right after the fights for an instant reaction again right here on the UFC Fight Cards Podcast. I'm Russ Renault, and thank you for joining us here and beginning your week here on YouTube on the UFC Fight Cards Podcast, and we hope that you have a great week, a great Christmas, and a great start to 2024. And we wish you the best, and we love you, and we will see you again next year. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll see you next time right here on the UFC Fight Cards Podcast, presented by Orange Fire Media.